I'm Brad Campbell, and I've been in the window film industry for over 30 years. A vast majority of that time I've spent working on security solutions and testing window films to determine what the real outcome might be in an active threat environment. Typically, an active threat will attempt to open the door. If the door is locked, they will shoot through or smash on the window to gain entry. Classic example of that would be Sandy Hook, where they took one shot through an adjacent side light. The window shattered into millions of pieces because it's tempered glass. Tempered glass breaks into small cubes for safety, but it's also very weak when broken. You can just walk right through it. If you apply window film to tempered glass, again, all entrances in schools will have tempered glass all around the glass doors, side lights, transoms. That's only going to buy you 30 seconds to a minute. Even if the window film is applied to the interior and the exterior and it's attached around the perimeter of the interior side, tempered glass is inherently weak when broken. So if the active threat tries to open the door doesn't open, they smash on it with something or shoot through it and break the window. How long is that broken window going to actually keep them out? This is the question you must ask yourself if you're charged with protecting schools against an active threat. There's a lot of tests that I've seen window film companies do out in the field where they've got a 200 plus pound law enforcement officer with full body gear trying to get his entire body through the window. And then once he steps through the window, then they stop the clock and say, oh, look, it kept him out for a minute and a half or whatever the time frame is. That's not an accurate test. On a school, you've got panic egress hardware, so the door is locked, but on the inside, there's a bar that you can just push and it unlocks the door for fire protection. It's going to be required in all schools. All an active threat needs to do is put a hole big enough to get their fist through to depress the panic egress hardware or manipulate the mortise lock to instantly open the door. That breach, that hole would only be about 4 to 6 inches in diameter. With tempered glass, even with double-sided filament attached, it doesn't take very long to create a hole of that size. The average response time nationwide for first responders, once the 911 call is received, is 3 to 5 minutes. In rural areas, it's going to take longer than 5 minutes. We need to create a standard, which already exists, by which people, security personnel that are charged with protecting schools can have products tested in a laboratory. And there's a new test called ASTM 3561 that has 8 sequences. The higher up the sequence your product tests to, the harder it is to get through it. So I'm here today because I want to help you understand the difference between force entry and ballistic bullet resistance and give you a practical way to call for products in your RFI, RFPs to make sure that they're going to actually perform as you would like them to perform, which is to keep a bad person out of a building long enough for first responders to arrive and eliminate the threat before they enter the building. Once they're in the building, things go from bad to infinitely worse, and it's just, how many people can they shoot before police arrive? That's typically how these active threat scenarios go. It's not pleasant, but that's the reality. They want to cause as much damage as they possibly can in the shortest period of time. And so once they get in the building, it's going to get ugly real fast. We need to buy time for our students to react. We should do training so that they are familiar with what to do. Just like when I was a kid, we did tornado training, muscle memory there. They need to run, call 911, get out of the building, hide to increase their chances of survival. But the most important thing, because let's face it, a lot of kids and faculty are not going to respond very well when they realize there's a real threat. They're going to go numb and they're going to be a deer in headlights. The best thing we can do is to keep the threat out of the building. Wall Street Journal just put out an article recently entitled "Schools Squander Millions to Bulletproof Windows. It Doesn't Work." And that article essentially lambasts the window film industry for falsely claiming that their solutions can stop bullets when they don't. And if they do, it's probably on glass, film applied to glass that you don't have in your building. You know, if they're testing on half-inch glass, you don't have half-inch glass. You have quarter-inch tempered glass, not half-inch annealed glass. And if you put, 10 layers of film or 30 mil thick film, it's going to probably look hazy, especially on angle and direct sunlight. It's not a good solution. There are better solutions, especially for the tempered areas at the entrances of schools. Those solutions only require that you remove the existing glass and put in a retrofit frame into the existing frame, and then put a panel that has been laboratory tested and designed, laminated together with polycarbonates, acrylics, and glass and other products to have a crystal clear appearance that will actually stop a threat, not delay them for 30 to 40 seconds. The cost of this is not that much more than window film attached, especially if you're putting double-sided attached window film. My plea to you is to consider calling for products to pass a laboratory test protocol, not some test that some window film company came up with in their back lot. The name of the test protocol is ASTM 3561. It was created by professionals that are in the school protection business, former military, law enforcement, people that understand ballistics, and also people that work in and around the test labs that devised this protocol. And we weaken the glass with 10 rounds. Doesn't necessarily stop the bullets. You don't have to stop the bullets to still dramatically reduce the amount of casualties. And school budgets usually will not allow for ballistic rated materials. It's very expensive. In some cases you can, though. And I would recommend at least UL 752 level 1 for 9mm handguns. The majority, over 75% of school shootings are committed with handguns. In some cases, handguns and rifles. Sometimes it's rifles, but the vast majority is handguns. So if someone's going to be trying to force their way into the building, shooting the window, it's likely that they'll be shooting with a handgun. So a minimum for entrances of schools would be UL 752 level 1 for 9mm handguns, plus keeping them out for a prolonged period of time. ASTM 3561 will, in the laboratory, will weaken the glass by shooting it with 10 rounds. The rounds are allowed to go through in the test, but the pendulum that swings down cannot create a hole large enough for someone to get their hand in. Now, I have videos of this. I'll link them below. I'm not here to advertise my products, but I've spent my life's work trying to create something that would actually work in an active threat environment. We've got retrofit products that are designed to go into existing framing, so you don't have to remove everything that's existing and cut out drywall and stucco. And you don't need to do all that. You can retrofit into your existing doors and windows with a framing system that bolts onto that existing frame, and then you put these, what we call infills, that are designed to stop bullets and keep a threat out for a prolonged period of time. If you're watching this video, I want to thank you, if you've made it this far, for taking the time to research real solutions that are actually going to make a meaningful difference when that very unfortunate day comes when a particular school gets attacked and that active threat is got adrenaline. They're on their mission, whatever crazy mission they're on. We owe it to the students. If you imagine your son, daughter, grandchild in that school with this events taking place and the horror that's going through their mind, it's not pleasant to think about, but if you transport yourself there, you can really get a sense of how urgent it is. The only thing that's going to keep them alive is whatever's on those doors. Assuming the school has their lockdown in place and the doors are not open, they're locked, we need to keep that threat out of the building long enough for first responders to arrive. And there's a methodical way to go about choosing those products. I'll link my information down below. I would urge you to continue your research, but I wanted to put this video out just to get everyone's attention and help clear the air. But the conversation should continue. It's a complex subject and there's lots to cover. So please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for watching.